Hi there guys, Sam here. You join me once again in the Golf R for another video and something a little bit different. I wanted to compare the Golf R to the Fiesta ST, two cars which I've spent the last nearly 7 years with. And yeah, I wanted to give a comparison just between those two cars over my ownership. And yeah, I'll get straight into the video really. So yeah, once again in the Golf R, a pretty miserable, cold, wet, horrible day. You know, all has been great. The car's been running really well. I've finally got new tyres fitted to the car, which I will go through and explain in a separate video. Yeah, really looking forward to using those. And this video actually came about just from comments from you guys and comments in the past as well, but a few more recently. And it was just to kind of compare the two cars. And this is just pure off my kind of long-term ownership of both cars. I owned the Mark 7 Fiesta ST for 4 years and 38,000 miles. My other half still has her Fiesta ST. She's done about 20,000 miles in it. Has had it for the last sort of 2.5, 3 years. I also drive that car a little bit as well. Obviously the Golf R, familiar if you're used to my channel. I've done I've done just over 24,500 miles, and I've had it for about 2.5 years. So all these kind of cars, you know, I have really good experiences on them. Also test drove quite a few Golf Rs as well, running up to my ownership of it. And yeah, I wanted to essentially break it down into sort of 10 sections, which I hope will be really useful to you guys. And I'll show these up onto the screen now. So let's rattle through these, and first up is performance, and that's obviously essentially the straight line ability of the cars. And Golf R is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's so quick. It always pushes me back to my seat. It's so fast, 300 brake horsepower. It does everything I could possibly want out of a car, really. The Fiesta was quick and is certainly up there, and it's a great little car and probably deserves more credit than it gets on the performance side of things because it doesn't weigh that much. But yeah, those were my ratings on that side. Second is braking, really important. Again, something underrated. Fiesta ST, I never really found it that good, to be honest. You know, they made quite a big thing in the Mark 7 that they put rear discs onto a Fiesta, and to be honest, it didn't really add massively to the braking. They were fine, and they were able to obviously stop a car that doesn't weigh that much, but it really wasn't anything. The Golf R, you know, 340mm front discs are absolutely huge, and it's 10 out of 10 for me all day long. And I've seen other tests from magazines as well, and the Golf R holds its own really strongly on the braking side of things. Great for daily use, and also probably great if you did ever want to track the car. Economy wise, Fiesta ST actually pulls something back here. It's really good. You know, on certain runs I was actually able to get about 52 miles per gallon, which is crazy really. Obviously that's going quite slow, but most of the time it was always within the 40s for me, even when I tried to have some fun. The Golf R is great for what it is, and you know, it can get up to 40 miles per gallon, but to be honest, it normally averages out around sort of 35 to 37, and if you give it some, you can easily get into the teens in the economy side of things, where in the ST I never really got that far. And it's great to have a car that's, when you're doing quite a lot of miles, to be quite cost effective on the running side of things. Now the ride, and this was actually probably one of the main reasons why I eventually got rid of the Fiesta. It's really hard. I did give it kind of 8 out of 10 on this because I think that's what really makes the car. What makes it as a hot hatch is its actual ride quality, because it helps with the handling. But it was really stiff, even for me. And the Golf R for me it's 10 out of 10 because it has that perfect balance of being stiff but being able to use it as a daily. Simple as that. And that compromise is ridiculously good. It's so well balanced, and so well balanced for sort of UK roads and the horrible bumps that we kind of get and potholes all over the place. So on the styling side of things, it's quite subjective really, all quite personal taste, but for me the Fiesta ST kind of nails it for me. It's what a hot hatch kind of should look like. It's quite shouty, but yet can still be quite subtle depending what colour you kind of get it in. Golf R, I love the looks of it. It can look a little bit too subtle, a little bit too much like a normal Golf at times, but to be honest, they both great looking cars, but for me the Fiesta just kind of edges it a little bit. On the agility side of things, again, it's a 10 out of 10 for the Fiesta ST because it's it weighs so much less than the Golf R, and that makes a whole heap of difference. It's actually about 100 kilos less than even the Mark 8 Fiesta ST, and it handles ridiculously. The steering's really, really light on the Fiesta ST, but you'll hit every apex. It's so much fun. The Golf R is great fun, but it does, you feel its weight basically. And although the four-wheel drive helps pull you around, I don't necessarily think the four-wheel drive always helps with the agility. It's still great fun, but not the same as the Fiesta. Running cost is actually really, really similar between the two, but I think the Fiesta just edges it because, for me, outright cost of the car, it's a lot less. Economy is better on that. But actually, things like tyres and getting through brakes and all those kind of things, there's not actually that much between them. I will do something separate on costs, specifically around my Golf R over my ownership, but it hasn't actually cost me that much more at all than the Fiesta ST, and considering their classes apart, I think that's credit to the Golf personally. On traction, again, something I think is important, particularly day to day, Fiesta ST, it was awful. Whenever it rained or drizzled for me, I was never able to get traction, and on cold days as well, it was really, really difficult. Golf R, 10 out of 10, four-wheel drive, puts its power down, it's fantastic. Again, similar thing for the interior. The Fiesta ST, it wasn't as bad really, I think, as everyone says. The Recaro seats are great. Part of the interior, you get a really nice wheel, it's a rounded wheel, bit of a dying breed on there. Manual gearbox was great, pedals were well spaced. Recaro seats were really, really hugging and fantastic. The rest of it was quite plasticky, but actually the stuff that you actually use and touch and feel when you're actually driving the car, it was fine. Golf R takes it up another level, different price point. It's a fantastic place to be and to spend plenty of time in. Fun factor wise, and this is what kind of made ownership of the Golf R quite hard for me over the first kind of 3 months of it. It just didn't have that kind of fun factor edge that I had in my previous car. So I always almost felt like I was taking a bit of a downgrade with it. As time's kind of gone on, I realised how much fun the Golf is, particularly compared to just a normal car. But because I think the Fiesta ST was so light and it was more cost effective ultimately, you were just able to chuck it around. Its agility was ridiculous, and it always put a smile on my face. Ultimately, what was its downfall was that it never really had another side of it. Sometimes you did just want to settle down, you did just want to get from A to B, whereas it was kind of always egging you on to do something more. But a really fantastically fun car. And then overall, obviously I've given it to the Golf R. It's the car I own, it's the car that I went from the Fiesta to. And hopefully this kind of breakdown helps you guys out, because I have spent a lot of time in these cars, and this is my personal opinion over many years of ownership of both cars, and we both still have them. I still think they're relevant. I think if you want a really fun weekend car, and to be fair, something that you can use every day, Fiesta ST is perfectly fine. But the Golf R is the better daily for me. But the main point I wanted to make is both cars just put such a huge smile on your face, and that's so important in sort of like a hot hatch or just in everyday life really. And they're both brilliant cars and kind of little supercars in their own right really. You can use them every day and they're just fantastic. And truth be told, if my other half hadn't got this Fiesta ST, which I've now switched into, I don't know if I would have sold that Mark 7 ST, and I might not have ever had the experience of the Golf R. They're two cars that are really close to me, and two cars that I'd want to have for such a long period of time. And I really hope the kind of comparison between them both helps you guys out. They are both kind of benchmark cars in my mind really, and brilliant cars at that really. They do set the standards and they're great cars to own. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Thank you so much for the likes and the comments and sort of previous videos as well. I'll leave 2 video links at the end of fun drives of both this Fiesta ST and obviously my Golf R, and for a bit more of a driving kind of comparison of the car. Let me know if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and drop a comment as well of kind of your thoughts on it. If you'd like to watch a fun drive of the Fiesta ST, click up there. If you'd like to watch a fun drive of the Golf R, click down there. And if you'd like to subscribe, and I hope you do, please click on the link just in front of my face. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.